Hi, guys, and welcome to Tickers from the Limitless podcast. On this series, we review listed companies on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. I'm Matthew,
And I'm Thaon.
and today we'll be talking about Kintyre Group, ticker as Kintyre, KNTYR. But before we get into the video, we would love if you guys would subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or follow us on your podcasting platform of choice. It really means a lot to us. We are trying to get to, I think, 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So help us to get to that goal, share it with a friend. And without further ado, let's get into it. How are you feeling about this one, Thaon?
Well, I don't know. It's a fun company. I will say that.
Fund?
Fun company.
Fun. Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun company. Wow, I'm just looking at the trades today. I literally just saw that 13 million shares. Okay, wow. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun company. People probably know it as ICreate. And then it was renamed recently to Kintyre Holdings Limited. So yeah, let's see what you have to say.
Yeah.
Actually, let's see what we have to say, because I have some thoughts as well. Let's go.
Yeah. So Kintyre, you see my screen? Yeah. So as usual in our tickers formats, how does this company make money? What's going on around them? What are they planning to do? Who owns it? And yeah. So in terms of how Kintyre makes money, they are, what would you say, very they have, a lot of different ways. Some of them I guess are more key than others. They initially, as you mentioned, the company used to be called ICreate, and so they have what's known as the ICreate Institute, which was supposed to be it's like is e-learning platform, right? Because they used to actually be in person though, because they used to have somewhere where I think they had like classes, and they had like a studio, and you could do different courses, and it was like you could upskill yourself. You say you want to learn about some, I don't think it was just like marketing, but some things related to like maybe is it tech, you'd say? I mean, my issue was that I guess I probably could have checked the prospectus, but I was trying to pull up their website, but their website wasn't actually loading at the time. I can probably try again, because they say become a certified digital marketing professional.
Yeah, it was digital marketing that they're really focused on, and they had the institute, ICreate Institute.
Yeah, social media marketing, paid search, email marketing. So I guess a lot of IT related SEO, search engine optimization. So something like a 1GS, display and video advertising, website optimization. So a lot of IT and web stuff
and marketing.
Because so I guess that was the plan was, hey, the world is increasingly becoming more digital. People don't just want to go to like school for how much years, have a degree, and then have an issue get like they're saying, hey, if I can just learn how to do this, maybe I don't have to go to UA or UTech or something, a university. I can do this course or do a few different courses and get some of that practical knowledge. So I think that was what they were doing.
That's on their you took that from their website?
This,
because I remember they also did a lot of video stuff too, like video production, animation, those kind of content. They focused on like a lot of content too.
Yeah. So I think didn't they use the I think that was where Taking Stock. Big up Khalila Reynolds. I think that might have been where Taking Stock started, Yeah, I think it was at iCreate's. They had like a studio and stuff. I think that was like pre-COVID. Yeah, so that's one of the ways that they make money. I think they are focusing less on this side. Over the next few, they've been focusing less on this side. They also even, something that I think they had announced maybe last year. They spoke about, have you ever heard of the 7 Ultra Lounge?
I remember seeing
Apparently,
it.
yeah. So apparently they own a 20% stake. Based on some articles, they were saying that they own a 20% stake through some sort of share swap
Mm.
deal. Um, yeah, and they apparently there was an article that was saying that they valued the stake at 300,000 US, which would be 50 million Jamaican. You know, and
Okay.
that's a 20% stake in the business. So you can see what they're apparently valuing that total business at. And so it's like a restaurant. Um, I've never actually been there. I think it's in Kingston. Yeah, Kingston. There's a restaurant in like Kingston. And yeah, so they issued shares in Kintyre to buy that company. And that's actually how they are doing something that they are, I guess, planning to do. Apparently, it's going to be through the partnership with Sevens. I don't know if you heard about a few, was it like maybe 2 months ago? There was
Oh, ice shortage.
yeah, or there was a fire at there's like the leading manufacturer of ice in Jamaica. It's
Mm-hmm.
Pure National or of ice for like events, and there was a big fire to their there was a fire to their factory. So they had
Mm-hmm.
apparently even upgraded their factory and stuff, and spent a lot of money on it. It was able to supply a lot, and then oh yeah, there was a big fire, and it really damaged. So the website isn't loading. But yeah, there was basically a fire damaged the factory, so there was like an ice shortage going on,
Mm-hmm.
and so apparently Kintyre made or put out a notice saying that, hey, we're gonna work with this company. They own a stake with Sevens, and we are actually planning to manufacture ice to meet that demand because parties, events, all of those stuff still need ice. And if if you used to really get it from this main person, and then you still need the ice, you're gonna have to find some other way. So the government, there was a huge ice shortage as you mentioned, and the government even allowed, uh, like they issued importing licenses to allow people to import ice to meet that shortfall while until Pure National can build back up their factory. And I think they're working to build it back up later this year.
Yeah.
So I saw in a notice they were saying that the Kintyre Sevens is planning to start manufacturing ice within this quarter we're in now, Q1 2025, which will be January to March. We're recording this February. So possibly by next month, they may be able to do that. And yeah, they're even apparently also looking to get a license to import ice. So I think that's something that they are hoping will work out. Because they're like, hey, ice is in demand. Maybe we can try steal some of that market share that Pure maybe can't supply.
Yeah.
So I think what I'd say about them, and I guess Tyrone and stuff, is the team they think, I guess, on their feet. He's just like, he's not in the ice business. He's just an entrepreneur, and he's just like, hey, there's a gap. I'm gonna start up a company and try do this. So if it works out, it would be pretty interesting.
Bingo.
Um, yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. So that's one of the ways. There's also this other one called Parallel.
Yeah. I know
So
Pearl.
this is interesting. So apparently Parallel is like a real estate company owned by the majority shareholder with Tyrone Wilson. So that's but iCreate doesn't own a stake in Parallel. It's like Parallel is a real estate company. They are doing a real estate project in Saint Anne called the Chalet,
Mm-hmm.
and iCreate apparently, Kintyre owns a stake in that project. So based on some articles, said that they own essentially about half, or yeah, own 50% of that real estate development. So initially, I've been kind of seeing different numbers on the amount of apartments. So it's apparently these apartments they're building up in Saint Anne. At one point, I saw 13 1 to 2 bedroom apartments. Then at another point, they increased it to 26.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some numbers being thrown around that say that they plan to sell the apartments for like 250K US or higher. Yeah, initially it was 8, then I saw 13 another place, and now I'm seeing 26. So ICreate or Kintyre is also in real estate technically, so
Mm-hmm.
that's also pretty interesting. The other thing, I did see a brochure on let me try pull this up. There was a brochure showing you what
The development
what
would look like.
yeah. So this was on, I don't know, what do you think of this?
Very clean.
Yeah.
Is it that you purchase one of the? Because it can't be this and they're singular rooms.
Mm-hmm. Apparently they said 1 to 2 bedroom apartments. So this is where it's gonna be, right next to Rio Bueno in St. Anne's. See it there. The entry looks fancy. You see the Benz in the front.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
And
does
then this is
that looks like
another.
prime land too, based on where it is,
Uh-huh.
close to the Rio Bueno.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah. So, and then this they talk about the different what they have:
the
ocean views,
amenities.
private jacuzzi,
Mm,
2 visitors parking lots, 24-hour gated security. Yeah.
could see
And
them
inside,
Airbnb in this.
yeah. So,
If these
that's a
renders
gym
actually
too.
do come to fruition, though, that's just a
Yeah. Oh,
always a
there's a
caveat. But
there's a beach nearby,
beach
Bengal Beach.
access, nice.
Yeah. And apparently JN Bank is financing it too. See, JN under pressure though. Apparently
Yeah, I
making
saw that today
some big
actually.
losses. And then you see them selling
Mm-hmm.
off parts of their battle. Yeah.
There.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's some of the stuff I've been able to find out about the Chalet. The thing is that the timeline, well, I guess it's not like it's only them, but with a lot of I find with a lot of these real estate projects, a lot of times there's some pretty big delays, because I
Mm-hmm.
saw somewhere saying that they were initially planning to break ground in January 2023 and finish by the end of Q3 2023, which, that's basically 9 months. That's pretty ambitious. But then I saw the timeline got pushed to 18 months and
Yeah.
then now to 26 months because they said the Chalet so far with the timeline for delivery moving from 18 months. And it's funny because this article had said 18 months. It was like an Observer article from ICreate to Kintyre. But then the
Mm-hmm.
initial timeline that was said was basically 9 months. So it went from 9 months to 18 months to 26 months. And they said the units are now being planned for 2025. So I hope that they, I guess, finish. Because I guess the thing is when the project keeps getting delayed, sometimes the cost, like, you
Yeah,
could say,
cost go up.
yeah, because what I've noticed sometimes with some of these projects is that they say, oh, it'll be this, you do a budget, it's in this time, but then because the time gets pushed, it
Mm-hmm.
usually gets more and more expensive, other things I didn't factor in. So definitely something that I'd want to see.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
with a lot of real estate developments, you also have to pay for, the contractors' time, the actual people working their time, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they don't own
Yeah.
some of the equipment, so they have to rent the equipment for certain days and
Mm-hmm.
so on. So all those things do bring up costs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's hope it finishes.
Yeah.
To be honest,
And
because it looks like an ambitious project, and I love stuff like
mm-hmm.
this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the other thing though is that I even heard there was an article in the Observer, Visual Vibe leads Kintyre turnaround, that was actually speaking that Kintyre would actually consider selling their stake in the development before it finishes to improve their cash flows. So it doesn't seem like they are necessarily even wanting, like, if an offer came around before, like someone wanted to buy it, they'd say, hey, we would sell our stake in the development. So
mm.
it
Tyrone
says,
needs to come on the podcast and clear up some of this because I'm not. Well, I understand why why you're doing the project in the first place. Obviously, it's to you build something nice and you're making some cash from it, which that's the ideal goal. But with a lot of these challenges,
mm,
I'm maybe I don't know. We'd love to just get like timelines or
Mm-hmm.
just speak about the vision in and of itself. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like something like this. I like real estate. Don't invest in it, but I like looking at it from afar, and I can appreciate a good project.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that was interesting. So I don't know. Hopefully they are able to meet their targets. Hopefully, I'm sure like a person who is more versed in real estate could speak about it and say, okay, do they think that something like this would sell off?
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's like a high amount of demand for something like this. So yeah, they're also into real estate now. Then they have Visual Vibe too. The last time, or I don't think iCreate has dropped or audited recently. I think they're due or audited somewhat soon. But based on this article, I was able to find that is Observer article iCreate to acquire the rest of Get Paid. It said that iCreate actually owns. Oh, hold on. This is saying
Mm. Visual Vibe. Visual Vibe is
divested a total of 40%, reducing its stake to 60%.
percent. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I think they own. So this based on this article, they're
60%.
saying they own 60%. Oh, okay. But this article I think was up to July 2024. Yeah, because the thing is they had bought it. I think they bought all of it. Visual Vibe, and we should say Visual Vibe is like,
Advertising company.
yeah, they're an advertising company. You guys have probably seen their screens
Yeah. Their
and or this
billboards.
image. Yeah, their billboards in Jamaica, and I think they have one in New Kingston.
Yeah, they have quite a few all over the place, but
Yeah, they
yeah.
have a couple different boards and stuff like that. So yeah, iCreate bought them maybe like what 2 years ago or so,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, Kintyre when they were iCreate, yes.
yeah, well, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things I'd say is that I see them in the articles. It seems like they mention, oh, that Visual Vibe is like a big part of Kintyre and how Kintyre makes money. But then I found it interesting that they were saying, hey, they are willing to essentially sell. Yeah, they're actually willing to sell some of it. So I guess I was worried about that. Kind of like if you're saying that, hey, this is really important for how you make money, and then you're willing. I mean, I guess technically, if you sell it and you do something really good with the money to drive the business, then it will work out. But if that's your cornerstone, um, yeah, just
You're
I guess
selling piece of
wonder.
your
And you've
cornerstone,
already no,
yeah.
you're selling even more because you've already sold like a good portion. So I guess it
Mm.
really determines, okay, what are they gonna do with the money? Because they see a better opportunity, then yeah, definitely. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. That's how they make some of their money, or I think a significant portion of their money. There's also this company called Get Paid. So I see that they owned 51%, and they're apparently planning to buy more, buy the rest of Get Paid to 100% by issuing more shares. Get Paid, based on what I saw on the website, they're like I think a payments processor. Let me show you that they had something that they said they offered e-commerce systems, payment gateways, payment portals, click to pay payment systems. Yeah. So if you wanted to set up a digital display of your product services, offer a lot of different ways to pay and receive goods. So they were like a payment processor.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what Get Paid was supposed to be. What I'd love to do is see the audit to see how much each of these different segments breaks down, or so I'm guessing I'm waiting for that audit to see, okay, what's going on, which one of these really, I think Visual Vibe likely gives them the most. I think they've kind of stayed away from the iCreate Institute. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've been able to find out about the different ways that Kintyre, is making money. And in terms of like, I guess what's going around, I mentioned the Pure National point that Pure National is really the largest manufacturer of ice, and then ICreate is kind of trying to step in because Pure National had the fire at their factory. So it's to say, okay, I guess what I would want to do is see the timeline on Pure National, because if Pure National, for example, the longer Pure National takes to start manufacturing ice, that's, ICreate gives Kintyre, keep saying ICreate, it gives Kintyre time to, hey, like step in and, hey, we can try to steal maybe some of that business. And then maybe even after, when Pure National comes back and is manufacturing ice, Kintyre, they may not be able to necessarily manufacture. Yeah, I'm just thinking that Kintyre can, maybe if they can try to steal certain contracts and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
steal some business, that they may be able to retain some of that business for a while
Capitalize
after.
on. But yes,
Yeah,
yes, 100%.
yeah. Also AI, they did speak about the iCreate Institute. I'm not sure. We're still not sure, I guess, how much the iCreate Institute is for the business, but if the with things like artificial intelligence changed up things like search engine optimization and a lot of different web stuff that maybe before you used to have to hire 10 people, now you have to hire less people. It may change. I mean, they could even pivot and they could offer AI courses, So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fully bad thing. They could say, hey, we can be the AI course place that if you want to find out about AI, learn about AI in Jamaica, maybe that's something. So I'd love to see something like that for them. And the other thing I was thinking about was things like social media, because we did mention Visual Vibe seems to be a big portion of their money. But, I think the, like, how, to you, if you are like a company, I guess it really depends on which type of company you are and who's your target demographic. But, as what I'd say is that over time, more and more people, like maybe when social media had just come out, maybe younger people were more only the ones using it. But
Yeah.
now that more and more people social media has been penetrating society more, it's like even older people, quote unquote, older people are starting to use social media. And there will be a point where the people who are young now will be older and they would have already been used to using social media. So it's almost like almost everybody would be using social media. So, social media, I think, has a lot of pros over the traditional billboard or screens. It's like I'm thinking, okay, the screen, it's like, oh, if you're driving the car, you'll see it. But there are people who, even when they're in the car in traffic, they'll go on their phone and they'll go on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And then, that's the cost for something like that. It's like, I don't know. Can you think of a company right now that would be more likely want to put an
Well,
ad?
what I would say is there is still always going to be need for that traditional type of media in terms of billboards and so on,
Mm-hmm.
because it's in your face, and we have a real
Mm-hmm.
traffic problem in Jamaica. So the
Mm-hmm.
more cars on the road, more people are
So
seeing the
people not on their phone
billboards.
in the car?
People probably are still on their phone. I'm not. JCF, don't come for me. I'm not on my you know but I still believe, yes, people will always still be on their phones and so on, but there
Mm-hmm.
is still also the need of
But do you see
to
it
be able to
growing
see.
though?
um it can grow via a couple ways,
Mm-hmm.
because imagine now, people are events, right? Let's just take events for argument's sake. What are the
Mm-hmm.
recent events that you've been seeing billboards on? Like, I've seen Sigma, even Sigma Run is on a
Mm-hmm.
billboard off of Waterloo Road. I used to see
Mm-hmm.
other
Mm-hmm.
like parties and so on, those kind of events
Mm-hmm.
literally on billboards, right? So it's not to say that it can't happen, right? There will always still be a need for that. And if
Mm-hmm.
Visual Vibe has, let's say, a monopoly on billboards, they could just
Mm-hmm.
raise prices, and they wouldn't necessarily need the entire billboarding industry to be
Mm-hmm.
going up. They just raise their prices for
Mm-hmm.
billboards, and they would just automatically earn more money from stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's not to say that it's impossible, and it's not to say that that industry is dying per se, because there is always going to be that need, in my opinion, like always.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some events where you're on your phone and nobody sees that. Like, yes, you can run social media ads and so on, but if the algorithm just isn't right, some people just not going to see it. Whereas if you put it
Mm,
on the boulevard or in off Waterloo, you guaranteed to know that like a certain demographic will see it. Right? Put it
mm,
in Barbican, a certain demographic will see it.
mm,
So I still think there is merit to having the business in like that kind of business and that
mm,
investment within Visual Vibe.
mm,
It's just how Kintyre, you know, plays the cards with it, and the reason for selling, because you can sell for any which way. Yes, you can sell to lock in gains, but you can sell at a loss as well, right? If you need the money to do other things. So it all depends on the reason for, them disposing of, equity within the business. And remember
mm,
how they acquired the business too. They also had to issue shares. So that in and of itself, when you start to think about the value of, um like, is it worth it to sell it? Like, obviously he
mm,
wouldn't be selling Kintyre would not be selling shares within Visual Vibe without a proper reason. So I'm also waiting on that audited, because that would just show
mm.
us a lot more information to go off of.
Sure. When is it due? So they're, oh, it's actually soon.
Yeah,
It's in March.
March 1st,
Mm,
2025.
okay, nice. Yeah. But yeah, that's some of that. And in terms of some of the plans I've seen them speak about, I know that they want to expand the boards, the amount of boards that Visual Vibe has. I
Mm-hmm.
saw where Visual Vibe has 13 boards right now. And there was like this partnership that they had with this company called NGAP. And NGAP essentially has some existing boards, and they're saying, hey, why don't we join forces together? So say there's a advertiser that wants to advertise on boards. If they just went straight to Visual Vibe, Visual Vibe would be like, hey, you can show on our 13 boards. But if Visual Vibe partners with NGAP already has their boards, so they're like, hey, you'll show ads on both our boards and NGAP's board. So it's like essentially expanding the network to make it more, both of them, I guess, more attractive to advertisers. So I saw that NGAP, they have one digital board and they're planning to add 4 static boards. So yeah, so I see that they're trying to expand Visual Vibes board, so like, hey, we have more locations, more people will be able to see your ad or whatever you're showing. So hey, we can make it, I guess, more attractive. Also, there was something that I saw with about Get Paid. Remember that other payments company? I don't know what you think about it. It's called apparently Swipe to Rent. They were Get Paid was planning to launch something that would allow you to say use your credit card to pay your rent.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Kind of
found
like
that
that.
interesting. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't think you don't know about. I don't think anyone else is doing that, are they?
Not that I know of, at least. Maybe there are players
Yeah,
in the market, but
yeah,
I'm not sure of any.
yeah. So apparently they're planning to launch it this year, 2025.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
wish I
I'd
could
love
do
to.
stuff like that. Like, use my credit card to pay almost everything. Because
Mm,
right now I do use my credit card to pay all the,
mm-hmm,
things that I would normally do bank transfers for. But
mm,
imagine something like this. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah. That'd be
because
pretty
you to
interesting.
reap the benefits from the credit card. Yeah.
Yeah, there was also some sort of Dubai partnership. I'm trying to remember what
Hmm.
exactly was. I don't think they really gave much information. There was an article that said, "Oh, they're at advanced stages in a deal in Dubai." That was in up to October, a few months ago, October 2024.
Hmm.
They said that they should be able to say something about it soon, and it should be a game changer.
Yeah.
I don't, up to the time that we're recording, I haven't seen any more news on that. So I guess that's something else to look out for. What's this partnership with these people in Dubai? And there's some sort of deal that they're working on in the British Virgin Islands to buy into this essentially tourism affiliated company. I see that they're saying that they'd get a 20% stake, or they're going for a possible 20% stake. And they said the business that they're looking to buy into has assets valued at 35 million US and good cash flows. So that would be interesting because I'm just like, how are they? If you're saying the assets are worth 35 million US, how are you going to finance buying 20% stake in a business like that? I mean, I guess they're going to issue shares, but then I'm just like, how many shares do you end up issuing? You've already issued quite a lot of shares, so that's something I guess to also follow up on. I'd love to guys find out more information about something like that. You could probably even do some digging to find out, how many companies, like you maybe could even guess the company that they're looking into. By
If
looking
I
on maybe
maybe if I
British,
do
yeah,
dig deep enough, that's true.
yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, they're saying I would love to. So it's the Dubai Partnership, British Virgin Islands. Yeah, that's some of the plans that they've spoken about, and we can also, I guess, touch on the ownership. So Tyrone, I think, let me see, Kintyre Holdings and eMedia Interactive and AHL are like all of his different, I guess, holding companies. So then in total, he still controls the company. So he would own more than 50%. I see also that Equity is in their top 10. They have a big stake in Dollar.
Wait,
And the Sag.
he owns more than 50% of
Yeah.
Kintyre Holdings Limited.
Well, I was saying of the listed company. Because if he's a connected party with like Kintyre, eMedia, and AHL. When you add up these, because one is 40, yeah. So
That's
he
10 and that's
owns
10.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. So he controls the company. So if he wants to do something, it will be done.
Which we have
And
seen in the past.
Yeah. And at the time of recording, Kintyre is at. Keep saying that. Kintyre is at 40 cents right now. Over the last, what would you say, few years, they have had like some tough times. I mean, I think when they had listed, I don't think they've been able to report a profit since listing so far for like a full financial year. I think they listed their first
year.
Yeah, their first financial year. I think they listed like 2018, and since then they've gone through like, I guess, a lot of troubling times. The most recent report, which was the 9 months up to September 2024, so far is actually profitable, 11.5 mil, and that's compared to what's this, 105 mil loss the same period last year. If they continue at this track, they could be doing 15 million profit, but we still have to wait for we still have to wait for like the most recent audited report to see how that does. And there was even some other stuff I guess I was looking into. Oh yeah, I found out like they were talking about the Pure. Remember saying about like Pure National? I was trying to see because they said Kintyre said the partnership they have with Sevens would allow them to make £15,000 of ice a day. Like that's, I think, how much they were targeting. So then I was seeing like what was said about how much Pure National produces. One of the articles I think alluded to like £140,000, and some different numbers that I was trying to do would say like 76,000 to 152,000 or so. But it's probably still a significant amount more than like Sevens. So Sevens is just trying to, I guess, start out and stuff. So I guess we can see how that goes. And then I also was trying to do some maths on the properties that they were speaking about with the chalet to see like how much they could make, because I was seeing some different numbers. They're saying, okay, we have 3 studios, 5 2-bedrooms, 5 2, well, yeah, how many properties, and then they were saying like how much they would try to sell it for. But then the thing is, the cost that they put out, that would have been the cost when they were estimating a certain time period. But then now that it's extended, that cost is going to go up. So it's like,
And then
I don't know, even
is
these,
this the cost of when they actually sell at completion, or is it if they sell before completion as well? Because this is as at
yeah,
completion.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then the
Yeah.
other thing is that Kintyre, I think they said they own half of the development. So then half of that
Hmm.
profit would be theirs. I guess minus also like the closing costs and other fees associated with that.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do the math to see some of the rough math I was seeing. They could be making like almost 100, 200 mil with
Hmm.
their share of profit, depending if they actually sell it at those prices. But yeah, there's a lot of ifs with it, because now I'm just like, okay, all of these other numbers you'd have to work in, and yeah,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. I mean, so what are your thoughts so far on it?
Well, I will say the name change is needed. I like the fact that he
Mm-hmm.
changed the name to Kintyre Holdings because it more accurately associates like the actual business model. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just a holding company. It's his holding company, right? You know, just like it's Mayberry Jamaican Equities or so on, and it tells you that
Mm-hmm.
it's Berry's Jamaican stock portfolio. This is just his portfolio of
Mm-hmm.
like companies and so on. So I
Mm-hmm.
prefer that than the previous name, which was iCreate, because
Mm-hmm.
they've stemmed so far away from just that industry and the iCreate Institute. So um, there's that. Um, yeah, honestly, one thing I can say is Tyrone just looks like a hustler. I think Tyrone literally is just the type to say, "Oh, this is what we're gonna make something happen, and we're gonna do it." And he has a very get this done, because even that visual vibe acquisition, I can't even imagine how hard that would have been for him to pull off, and he still got it over the line, even despite everything. He had his company suspended, and he got that back on track, right? And it was taken away, and he got that back, and so on. So one thing with Tyrone that this has taught me is, yeah, man, he's a fighter. And the thing with business, yes, business is extremely tough, but all businesses have its ups and downs. Like look at that up right there, that middle, that peak in July 2022, right? When that stock
Mm-hmm.
traded at $4. I was trading that stock, right? I made a little bit of money off of that stock, in and out quickly. But there are people that were buying and believing from cents, right? Big up man like Phil, who was buying at like 70 odd cents and so on. I don't even know, but it was lower than $1 that he was buying.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see him in top 10 for a long time, believing in the vision. And yes, he made his profits and so on. But you can make those kind of profits too, because imagine buying at 70 cents and selling at $4, what that kind of gain is like. So I like companies like this because you can't ever fully knock a dead company, because listed company is hard for that. Very, very hard to die. So I'm just excited to see what else he has coming, because one of his things must bingo. That's what I believe, right? I
Mm-hmm.
sound like a big Tyrone fan, but I just want to see people win. To be honest, I never yet want to see like a
You
listed
believe enough
company.
to buy?
I'll believe when I see more. If he comes on the podcast and tell us say some more stuff, right? Then that
Mm-hmm.
would be great. And
What
tell the
kind? What
people
do? What
them
would you look for then?
what would I look for.
Yeah.
Well, one of his things actually coming to fruition, maybe one of his that foreign acquisition, maybe get paid seeing the business more in terms of like I want to set a breakdown in the financials to see, all right,
Mm-hmm.
which one is the cash cow? Which one should I really pay attention to? Is he selling more visual vibe to buy more of get paid? Like what is the strategy? I need to be seeing some direction for me to be able to say, all right, I'm gonna buy this stock. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
buying it at 40 cents and selling at $4 would be insane. um, so
Mm-hmm.
it's just I like companies where people aren't really talking about them. They're like dying or so on, or so people think. It has a negative market perception, because that turnaround could be great. Could be absolutely great.
Yeah. Boy, I don't know. I guess I was asking myself, like, what would
make you buy?
Yeah, boy, I don't.
What would make you buy?
Do I have to give an answer?
I feel like the
This
people that want
question,
an
I don't
answer.
know.
I feel like the people want an answer, right? You guys want an answer.
What I don't know. I mean, my issue, I guess, is that my issue is that with the strategy, like if you're gonna buy a company, right, or if you're gonna grow your business, you need to usually need like some capital or some money, and you can either borrow the money, so debt. Well, you can either use the company's cash. You can either, if you do have the company doesn't have cash, you can borrow money from someone, or you can issue shares in your company or equity. Debt, so debt, cash, debt, or equity. So my thing is that in the financial position that they're in now, like I just showed you their cash flow statement, the most recent cash flow statement. So even though that I told you that the profit was a bit higher so far this year going into next year for the 9 months, cash flow wise, like the business is actually burning more cash. So 9 months for September 2023, cash from operations negative, let's call that negative 28 mil. So they burned 28 mil, and then cash flow in operating activities this time was 67 mil. So they're actually using up more cash. And if you even look at their cash position right now, they don't really have that much cash. So it's like, okay, if the business isn't really putting out much cash, that means you can either borrow money, but the position that they're in right now, it's the kind of terms, interest rates, all that stuff like that. And I don't think they're really going to get any
Favorable
good.
terms.
Yeah. And yeah. So then that leaves them at debt, or I'm sorry, equity. So they issue more shares, and it's like they've already been issuing shares, and it's like, because they've even got approval, they can just issue shares at any time. Like they could just drop an article and say, hey, we've issued shares to buy this company. And then they could issue at prices like, what if we're saying the share price right now is like 40 cents. For that person, like if I'm going to be buying into a business, if the business is under pressure, even if I do see the vision, because that business doesn't necessarily really have as much options, it's not like they could maybe easily go to a bank or easily fund the money from the operations. It's like they're in like a tough place. So it's like the terms I can get, I'm taking on a certain level of risk. So I'm like, hey, I need to be compensated for that risk. I need to get a really cheap price. So what kind of price are they going to issue shares at? I saw some at like 60 cents. If it's trading at 40 cents, I may say, hey, we want to be issued shares even below the market price. 30 cents. How low does it go? 25 cents. And it's like, if that person's then issued the shares and they're issued significant portion of the shares or significant like amounts of money, then what if they decide to sell? And and it's like, because the stock is just coming from where it is, like I'm wondering, like how many people are still holding on from $3, $2, $1, whatever price. And the minute the stock starts to move up back, I feel like there's going to be a lot of selling pressure as people. There's that, that there's the, what would you call it, phenomenon. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Well, it's loss aversion, but there where, say you buy the stock say you bought ICreate at $2,
Yeah.
you see it go to $1, you see it go to 40 cents. A lot of times people don't want to sell and realize the loss. They'll hold it and they'll wait till it reaches back up to their price, so that at least maybe break even. So it's like, I think be a lot of selling pressure. It's like, to take this back. I mean, I do agree with your point that 40 cents. People don't realize that 40 cents to 80 cents is 100%.
Yeah.
But what is gonna? I don't know. I feel like something big would have to take it there. And the other thing is, even if you're buying right now, there's like not really many people that want to buy the stock right now. There's almost no buy queue. We're looking at this now. At the time of recording, it's 40,000 Jamaican is in the buy queue. So anyone that wants to sell any amount, if someone wanted to sell 100,000, they'd be dropping the price some more possibly. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I wonder about. I'm like, does it like even me think about this, like, okay, 40 cents to 80 cents as I play, that's 100% gain. That's a big gain. But what if I could find that 100% in something else? So my question is, say you consider this high risk. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people probably would consider this high risk. You agree?
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
So what if I can find something that gives me that same 100% return and it's a moderate risk? Well, I believe it's a moderate risk because it's really what I think. So
True.
I'm like, do I take on that thing because it, like, I would think that the better thing to do would be to, if we were right about the assessment saying that, hey, this is high risk and this could give me 100%. The other thing I'm looking at isn't as high risk, still is somewhat, obviously it's going to come with some risk, moderate risk, but I think it could be 100%. Shouldn't I take the
moderate risk?
Yeah, if I think they're both likely to happen, I would like, hey, it's like, so yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I
all of these
also think
different
that
things, and
the amount of people that also have shares too, because if you are issued shares at 40 cents or 60
mm-hmm,
cents and the price goes to 80, would you want to cash out as well? Right? Could there be
mm-hmm,
almost like a price ceiling where,
mm-hmm,
a bigger player who has a lot more shares at a much cheaper price is saying, okay, I'm just now going to
mm-hmm.
realize the gain on my
Yeah.
investment?
I'd want to know if when they're issuing these shares to these people, are they putting a lockup period
Mm-hmm.
so that, oh, you can't sell your shares for the next 1 year, 3 years, or something like that? But then if someone then puts in that clause, it could either make the person say, hey,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
could be
want to invest
additional risk for
again,
them.
or I'm gonna even demand that even cheaper price, or there's so
Yeah.
many things to, I guess, think about for me. I'm just like, I don't know if the return justifies the risk that the risk that I'm, I guess, looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Luckily, there's so many other people in the market with different risk tolerances too. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
back to even somebody like Phil who actually bought at that 70 cents before. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the company is
But I
different
mean,
now.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
The risk is
obviously, yeah.
way different, like, I don't know.
But there
I
will
don't
always
know,
be
man.
someone that will be buying. Like, look, their orders in the buy queue right now. So,
Yeah.
you know, what do you think? One to
Yeah.
watch.
Boy,
Guys,
I don't know. I mean,
comment.
the
Yeah,
ice thing will be interesting. The ice thing. I want to see their audited too. I think that will be
that will clear up a lot.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see if they can break the trend and
Mm-hmm.
make some profit,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
because I
see.
think sometimes when they face up to the auditors like reverse some of, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's see.
You think
It's
that, I
a
remember they were even talking at one point about spinning off Visual Vibe,
yes. I remember them saying spinning off Visual
and then
Vibe.
they announced it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think that's when the company got suspended.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Spin off. I create shares in
Yeah, that
Visual
was
Vibe.
late 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. But the thing is, now they don't really own much visual. They don't really even own as much Visual Vibe now. So
Yeah.
I think back then they probably owned a lot more of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Uh,
One of those
so
stocks, I guess.
interesting one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, comment down below, guys, what you guys think about the stock. All right. We'd love to hear your thoughts, to see your comments, read all of them. All right. And if you guys did like this video, drop a like, subscribe, because we really have a big goal. You heard Preston's ambitious goal of 5,000. All right, subs for the end of the year, which is doable. So we'd appreciate it if you guys just hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you so much for coming to another Tickers. All right, and as always, not financial advice. NFA. Limitless out.
Peace.